Act. What is your party position? Do you think it has been implemented fully?
The party positions is that the Local Government Act has never been implemented fully since the act was sent into the law. The Local Government Act actually gives a number of areas, and for instance, the section 53 and 52 of the Local Government Act has not been implemented ever. The Act gives powers to the people to directly elect their county's commissioners. The Act also gives the people in the city to have directly to elect the city mayors. So these are the issues that we feel it has never been fully implemented. And therefore, even the Election Commission or the Election Act has not given space for the local government elections to take place. But what we see is contradictions or controversials of law. As you know, the Local Government Act is an act that actually has been enacted and sent into the law by the President of the country. Whereby the state's legislation should actually always work in harmony with the national legislation. We should not expect to see contradictions of law whereby the Local Government Act says that the county's commissioners and the mayors should be directly elected by the people, and where in the state legislation we see that it has empowered the governors to appoint mayors and to appoint commissioners.
Thank you.
And the important aspect of why, okay, welcome.
Just to be sincere or to be clear, so here we want to get one thing clear. Where does the local government get its power?
The Local Government Act is an act that has been enacted by the National Assembly, and the National Assembly is the house of the people, that the house that represents the people of South Sudan in general. And the laws that are done by the National Assembly are sent into law, or they are actually they are sent ascended by the President. And therefore the Local Act is it's a body actually governs the all local government operations, how they should operate, how should the mayors come into power, how should the commissioners come into powers, and how should the pyramid status, and how it regulates the ministries of local government in all the states. But in the state legislation isn't able to enact some laws, including the state constitution, which how the state should be governed, describing the powers of the governors, and this where the mistake had happened. The state legislation went and gave again powers to the governors and to the governors to appoint commissioners and mayors, whereby in the Local Government Act it says that they should be directly appointed by the people, and therefore the state legislation should work in harmony with the national legislation, should not contradict. And in this case we see that the state legislation is not superior or is not higher than the national assembly, and therefore they should act in laws should be acted in harmony with the national constitution and with other act that has been acted by the national assembly.
Well explained. Thank you. So basically, this neglect, according to your explanation, we are seeing whereby the state legislation is overlooking the national legislation, basically. So who bears the whole thing? Who is supposed to be held responsible?
It's the council, the council of the states should clearly tell they should tell the state assemblies that those laws which actually contradicting other laws which has already been acted. But the fact remains clear that mayors and commissioners should not be appointees of the president. Once the people at the local level, which is the local government, are able to enact their own laws, and therefore they are able to elect their mayors, they are able to elect the commissioners. This encourage democratic process in the grassroots, and people more often feel responsible by the persons whom they elect, and therefore they feel responsible before him, and the persons as well feel responsible before the people that elected him, and therefore he remains loyal to the very people that elected him. And where in case of whereby they are appointees of the governors, the commissioners and mayors will always be only an agent of the governors, because these are the very people that has brought them to power, and these are the very people that have the powers to remove them from powers. And therefore you see that the people's need and the people's desire, obligations are actually thrown very far. So you will not feel so obliged before the public. And this is the different scenario here. And mayors in all over the world are elected. They are not appointees of governors. And counties commissioners, where over the world, the counties commissioners in some parts of the world, they are elected. And if South Sudan is a democratic country, and we are building a democratic society, then elections does not only ends with the presidency and the governors and the national members of assembly. Also people in their counties are able to elect. They should be able to elect their mayors and their commissioners. This being important because the people in the county is actually a small geographical area of a given certain community, and within that then they do understand themselves very well, so they know whom they should bring in power, because they basically know. But governor's position as state is actually a big and a larger territory, and the same things to the constituency, where South Sudan become one constituency under the presidential election.
Thank you so much for the explanation. Well understood, and I hope the whole world is listening and watching. One aspect, as the leader of PLP, you have just mentioned that this is not, it has not been mentioned in the peace agreement, and also South Sudan is still under transitional constitution. What do you intend to do, the position, what is the position of your party on this? How do you intend to effect it? Now that's not there in the constitution.
It is already there in local government act. So we are arguing something within the laws of South Sudan.
Yes.
So since our argument is based within the laws of South Sudan, when the National Assembly passed the local government act, they understood it and they passed it. When it was sent into the law by the president, it was understood. So the main implementers are the local government. Therefore, the local government board of directors, which is actually formed as a result of the very act, or which is the Local Government Act, should either form the independent election commissions, which should actually be able to carry out elections, or else should give the role to the National Election Commission. The very interesting part of this, that one of the laws that actually going to be re-legislated again, or is going to laws that requires reform, is the South Sudan Election Act. On this, we will have to make sure that the act put in some few space whereby the local government elections for the mayors and counties commissioner become part of the job of the National Election Commission. This is the aspect which we have to see. The legislation has to understand that clearly the mandate to there is no mandate is going to be there anymore for governors and for the governors to appoint mayors and to appoint commissioners. And therefore, we are targeting the reforms within the Election Act, whereby we more work should be added to the National Election Act to create a space so that there is local government elections are done. Either they are done after before the national elections, or they should be done after the national elections. But the people, the local government elections must always take place as prescribed by the Local Government Act of South Sudan.
In your view, is this neglect of the constitution, is it intentional, accidental, or is it because of ignorance, or rather what we say, lack of civic education?
It's not either of the two. It's the thirst for power. And if you see the current transitional constitution of South Sudan, it is the only it has invested a lot of powers to the hands of the president. And the president can even remove an elected governor. And though the constitution gives the provision that the elected governor should be there, the caretaker government should be there for 90 days. They go as far as 90 months and a year and 2 years and beyond. So is task for power. So the state government also see if the national government is grabbing a lot of powers. Therefore, then they should also grab a lot of powers too from the local government. But if each one and everybody actually understand that not having too much powers will help her, because our current government has also failed to deliver, though we have the most powerful president in the whole world who could remove an elected body, an elected persons by the people out of power. So it's not about how much power invested in you. Sometimes too much power is invested in you can even confuse you. So it's task for power in South Sudan, so to speak. It's not about we don't understand our laws, that there's nothing wrong with our laws. Our laws are perfect. We have drafted them, but people just have more greedy to power, and people just want. And also you find that the regime or the system itself does not even, I don't know whether they really value the very constitutions of the nations, or do they have their own way of doing things. So this is the clear things in the Local Government Act. It is clear people should be elect directly their mayors. People should elect the county's commissioners. But this is just done with intention, because they know there will be no oppositions out there to questions. They know there will be no people to questions, and therefore the country business is actually run as a personal business, so to speak.
PLP leader, one thing which the nation has witnessed is the growth of your party. Within the last 10 months, your party have grown very fast. According to you, what influence do you exert on the ground, according to you?
Yes, our party has grown. The growth has, of course, is unexpected to us. We are surprised of this growth. The whole thing is that PLP will always stick to the principle of its formation, and PLP will always stand with the people of South Sudan. As a liberal democratic party, we're extremely concerned about the democratic process in South Sudan. As we liberals, we are concerned about the humanitarians and human rights violation in South Sudan. We actually taking the lead to advocates to ensure those who have committed crimes against humanity must be brought to justice. And in our process of achieving our political objectives, we actually pray and we actually feel that there's nobody should be hurt that means we are a non-violent political party, and we actually trying to make South Sudan as a non-violent society. So to change that directions from the violence that has been in existing around the environments in people's mind and all this is not easy. And as a party, we have not bowed down to the government demands. We have not bowed down to our personal interests. We have not bowed down to our party interests. We kept the people interests. We make sure that people of South Sudan should get what they deserve as prescribed by the national constitution and as prescribed by the other laws, and therefore people of South Sudan really deserve to have a fair and a just treatment regardless of where they come from. We've been striving to see that people of Southern Sudan also should have access and informations to the wealth of their nations, and they should be, we believe in a process where peoples are always becomes part or stakeholders to the entire government process. And so it's not just people hearing decisions, presidential degrees on the TVs and decisions being made on their behalf. No, the policy of the party believe that we have to build the nation in inclusiveness. That means we have to be inclusive. We have to, people must be the stakeholders to the decision making, and government policies should be open and transparent to people, whereby people can be able to voice. We also been taking a high lead on advocating against corruption. As you know, South Sudan, to describe the status of corruption, it's absolutely, I don't know how to describe it, but we actually been advocating that the government must be transparent and people must be transparent, and that transparency must be maintained. So looking at the policy of PLP, very many intellectuals have seen it to be unique, and because it's the truth and the matter itself. It's not about just having policies in place as a party policy, but this is what the truth, this is what can push this nation ahead. Unless we become transparent and accountable nations, we will never achieve any economical or prosperity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.